Investing in blockchain and DeFi. Every day, Decentralized Finance is bringing new projects into our lives. How can you get in front of the hype wave by getting on board early? Let's discuss. With Thierry Bouffiou, Entrepreneur Endeavor, Diego Di Tommaso, OVR, and Rami Aldamati, AIBC.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. We're going to be talking about investing in DeFi products as well as blockchain products overall. I'd like to welcome our guests, Diego, Thierry, Rami, who's just joined us. Thank you, Rami, and Sunny as well. Great. So I think overall, perhaps Thierry, you'd like to take this on board. What opportunities does DeFi offer to crypto investors that, say, traditional crypto assets do not?
Good question. I believe that the crypto world needs brains. So if you think about it, like today, and the previous panel said exactly the same, we are a small community in the world. So what we need to do is we need to convince the large funders and the large banks to actually also invest in our type of project.
Yeah.
Right? So in order to do that, first of all, we need more brains in crypto. Secondly, we need to be more, let's say, traditional and being able to use the traditional tools, like, for example, index, and be able to show the credibility and the stability on different projects. Now, when this is done, and this is not done yet, we just had the example before, when this will be done, then I think we can see a lot of different funds actually taking a very small part of their funds, very small one.
Yeah.
If they all do 1%, I would be very happy. Investing to some DeFi project or crypto project, and actually multiplying the leverage of the old portfolio by having a few very interesting crypto project. So I think indeed higher risk, higher return, but in a portfolio of a big investor could make sense.
Absolutely. So do you see more institutions looking at DeFi even though it's an unregulated space, or are they looking for more exposure in their portfolios to this as an asset class?
Yeah, but you know what happens last week doesn't help us. People, of course, the traders or the exchange, but the traders in particular are not so good for crypto. I mean, I'm very serious about that. I mean, people think that, you know, like your coins is going from 10 to 100 to 1,000 and it's good for everyone. Of course not. What is good is like a long-term holding strategies to show that some of the projects mean something. Then we can see a kind of a growth pattern, which may be faster than any of the shares that you know, even the fastest one, even a Tesla share, right? But still, with a normal growth and normal credibility about the project behind it. If it's only about trading and making margin calls, at the end of the day, we will lose everything. So yes, indeed, I see that the big, large funds could actually invest more into crypto, but first, we need to increase, again, the brains and the credibility of our project.
That makes sense. So you would overall advocate more of a long discretionary approach rather than an active trading?
Last thing, because I'm not the only one. Yes, you know, I'm helping interesting project. Mm-hmm. And when people ask me, they say, hey, Thierry, can you raise a lot of money? I said, let's raise good money. Exactly like what I do on Dubai Angels or on Angel. Yeah. We need clever money. in crypto project, we need good money. So if you have a lot of investors buying your coins just to trade it, you have an issue.
Yeah.
So I prefer to have less coins, less value, but holders. So I always say, okay, do you want to hold and you want to participate with me in this project? Then I think it's a good opportunity. If you just want to trade and then, you can buy it now for 5 cents and at opening it will be 15 cents and you sell everything, I don't need your money.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you so much, Thierry. Diego, do you see the decentralized approach, or DeFi, as a challenge to traditional finance, and why do you see that as an opportunity for investors?
Well, I mean, right now traditional finance and crypto world are still kind of separated worlds. So I would not say that there is a direct challenge or direct conflict, but of course, in the long run, while this blockchain gets more adopted by people, definitely DeFi offers some clear advantages that traditional finance right now doesn't have. Like, of course, the fact of removing all the intermediaries and having algorithms instead of people executing the rules that actually are already coded also in the financial system. Let's not forget that, if you think about what you can reduce to algorithm of what is traditional finance, probably is like 99%. So, being able to bring this to, a system that is trust minimized, and of course trust always has a cost, of course offers huge advantages. So, I think that definitely in the long run, traditional finance will be challenged by DeFi. Not right now, but that will happen. Just to give you a concrete example, just look at what Uniswap did. Uniswap, it's a 0 to 1 innovation. At the end of the day, they say that DeFi recreated in a decentralized fashion what was in traditional finance. But it's not only that, because AMMs, what is Uniswap, so automated market makers, basically created a new way to exchange value, not based anymore on the complexity of having market makers providing liquidity. And that is, working like a charm, because, I guess that many of you know that Uniswap was trading more volume than Coinbase. And like, for example, also, I have a project, and we are both on Uniswap and also on centralized exchanges. And I'm not talking about Binance and Coinbase, of course, but if you go to second-tier exchanges, it's very difficult now to compete with the amount of volume that Uniswap has right now. And this is still with the high gas fees that you need to pay, that it's a huge burden and problem to the system. And still, they are creating a huge amount of volume. And not only that, actually, because that system also incentivizes liquidity providers. So if you have some liquidity, you can participate being a market maker without having to be really inside finance. So right now, if you want to be a market maker inside a traditional exchange, you really need to have algorithms and know how this thing works. If you want to do liquidity provision on Uniswap, it's a no-brainer. It's very easy to do.
Yeah, that's excellent. How do you see the role of DAOs within DeFi, and how do you see that really as a differentiator within the overall spectrum of crypto assets that are offered to investors at present?
Yeah, no, so this is a very interesting question also, from my personal experience, because as I was mentioning, I have this project that's called OVR, and to raise capital, actually, what we did, we didn't do the traditional ICO. We did an AIBCO, that stands for Initial Bonding Curve Offering. In this case, we have, this automated market maker, actually controlled by the Bancor formula, that is controlled by a DAO. So basically, we don't have direct control on this algorithm. So once it's launched, we cannot withdraw the liquidity from this bonding curve. So this gives very strong advantages for investors, because of course, they are sure that we cannot mess with it. If you think about that, with traditional ICOs, projects actually raised a big amount of capital, and then they say, okay, maybe we will list somewhere, and we will put some liquidity. But put yourself in their foot, let's say, in their shoes. So if you raise $10 million, how much of this $10 million you will put in liquidity in the market? The less, the better, of course. You know? Because not only because maybe you are bad intentions, but because you need that money to develop the project. In this case, in the case of the IBCO, actually 100% of the capital that you raise stays in the bonding curve and provides liquidity for investors. So, I mean, this is very good for investors, not so good for projects sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, like, in our case, we could do that because we have a revenue stream. We are also selling NFTs that are virtual lands, and basically this is cash that we generate that we can convert back with the bonding curve. If you don't have that, you cannot use this kind of system.
But do you feel that DAOs, or decentralized management, which is really extolling the virtues of DeFi, do you think this is having a strong appeal to the wider market within crypto right now?
Well, you know, it all depends, I mean, on the kind of competence that the investor has. Of course, this is complex, so it's not really so easy to understand what is the advantage. So, I mean, I think that savvy investors, they do see the value in that. I mean, if you take a newcomer, a new investor, maybe it's not so easy to actually make him understand what is the value of that. And also, what I want to say about that is not all, I mean, positive thing about DAO. Because, you know, the problem with DAOs also that they are complex.
Yeah.
And, I mean, once you deploy that, it's very hard to change.
Sure.
And maybe something you cannot even change. Some other things you need to ask to the investor to vote for that. And, of course, we all know that not always investors are active. Sometimes they just invest like, a financial investor, but they don't care about the project. So you need to convince them to vote. So there are many, many assumptions that you create when you build a DAO. And so, being the architect of a DAO is a very complex thing to do.
Absolutely. No, it certainly is an experiment in automated consensus. Jerry, sorry, did you want to add something?
And today, how many percentage of the project structured like this? It's like less than 1%?
Oh, nothing. I mean,
Exactly.
we are actually, this IBCO was used by us and by Avegocci, for example. So it's not really widespread, even if I do think that is a very good way of funding, but it's because of complexity, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Rami, what products or what do you see really driving the market in terms of DeFi? Where is the interest both from retail and institutional investors right now?
Great. Actually, we can see mainly in our region, DeFi is being created to make the formal part of the cryptocurrency itself. So we make more trust on it. So borrowing, making something into the exchange, and to convince people to invest in a trust for that. And I came from background of cybersecurity, but we can see that this domain now going with more regulations, that people start trusting and go into the privacy and try to invest with flexibility. So they can see that, there is a lot of ways so we can engage and we can work on it.
Thank you. Sunny, from an exchange perspective, I mean, where do you see the volume being driven? Where do you see the most interest from a product perspective within DeFi?
Hi, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name was not there on the display. So my name is Sunny Mohanty. So I represent a centralized exchange called La Token. So we are the top 15 exchanges as per ranking. So yeah, it's a good question. I've been in crypto space since 2016-17, so I've seen a lot happening, a lot moving in the space. So before it was more like ICOs for fundraising, and that was that wave. And in 2018, there was IEOs, which is when you do an ICO on an exchange, at a centralized exchange, it's an IEO. And currently what I see, there's a lot of interest from investors in Bitcoin, obviously, and also in DeFi space.
Let's focus on the DeFi space. So from an exchange perspective, where do you see the interest both from retail and or institutional investors that you work with within the DeFi space?
Yes. So we have both retail investors in our community, trading community. We also have institutional investors like the venture capitalist as well. So we see that they have started obviously moving their interest into this space as an asset class. So previously it was just fiat, but now they are very much intrigued. And obviously I get asked questions about what token should they invest in, you know, because I represent an exchange. So I see a lot of interest and a lot of curiosity coming from, I mean, obviously retail investors are part of our trading community anyways. They're traders, they're active traders, they trade daily. So obviously that interest is always there. But with institutional, yes, it's more and more like, you know, I would like to explore, tell me more. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
I have my doubt.
Yeah.
I have my doubt that it's really happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my doubt. If you look at VCs and if you look at investment banking today, I don't think that they invest so much in DeFi.
Yeah, certainly.
I'm sure.
Which segues into a great question, Cherry, which you may or may not want to pick up. But do you feel that VCs or institutions or broker-dealers, are they waiting for DeFi to have some form of regulation before they enter the market?
Oh, regulation. I would have said stability, but if you say that's regulation...
Well, many institutions are regulated.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to satisfy and discharge their obligations in order to invest into a new asset class.
Yeah, true, but so the question is regulator helping with stability? Yes. So yes, I agree, just like the panel before. I think that it's quite important for us that we develop the whole industry. Like, I mean, the whole crypto industry, any type of project, into a more serious and stable economy. And then we will see the traditional investor also moving some of their money to because if it's Bitcoins, then it's trading. Then it's like hoping to have like a gain on some currency exchange, which it's not a project. Sorry, it's nothing to do with project. It's just about increasing the return on your portfolio with actually having a few additional assets in your portfolio that you don't have on the normal market. That's it. And then I agree with you. We also need to look at which coins have which liquidity. So this is so complex today for an investment banker to go to his family office and managers to say, hey, you know what? I have invested 5% of your fund, of my funds into DeFi or crypto.
Absolutely. Rami, where would you see the advantages if you were to go to a family office or an investor? Where would you see the advantages of investing in, say, more of a boutique DeFi, say something like we have locally, like Shisha Finance, versus something that's very well established, such as Uniswap or Sushi? How would you compare and contrast the two?
Actually, there is good attention in this family offices to go with this type of investment, because as the Digital mentioned, that it is an extra way to get more funding in the niche domain, and they are try to be in the beginning of the hype itself in order to facilitate, or let's say find the value from the beginning itself, as Bitcoiners start from the early, get benefit from the early stages. So the same from the early stages of DeFi, like Shisha Finance and others, that they are coming and attract these type of offices or venture capitals itself in order to maybe to accelerate the process to go with these more and more and find more possibilities to increase the hype together for that.
Excellent. Diego, what do you see as the future of DeFi, or what do you see as the next steps for this to really gain traction as a traditional asset class, or does it really stay within the crypto or digital asset ecosystem?
Yeah, I think that the main issue is about on-ramps and I mean facilitating the people outside of our ecosystem to get on board, because you know for us, I mean, everything is natural, everything is quite easy, But it's not like that. I mean, there is a huge cognitive barrier to start using DeFi. You know, you need to start know how to use MetaMask, and you know, you need to take Ethereum in the exchange and then change it in DAI and then put. I mean, you do it every day. It's not so complex, but you need to do it for the first time. You're not gonna do that. So, I mean, I like projects like, for example, Dharma, that in the US is facilitating all these kind of passages. And I mean, once these on-ramps and off-ramps are optimized and communication and I mean interaction is much more easier. I mean, I get that it's very difficult to think that this is not gonna take over the world, because why shouldn't that happen? I mean, it's you know, when something is logic, when something needs to happen, maybe it will not happen tomorrow, maybe it will happen in 1 week, or I don't know, in 1 year, but it will happen. So it's just about time, about people understanding and starting trusting these systems. Because also, you know, for me, it's more secure to put my cash inside an algorithm than giving to a person. But this is not the way usually people think. So we need this paradigm shift to get people adopting really in DeFi.
Yes, but to get this paradigm shift, we need credibility. Yeah. We need also not only I agree with you that, of course, the way to go there has to be easier, but also the volatility that we have still today in the market is killing us.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, what's the use case of DeFi? You know? If you're talking about stable coins, that is not the issue. For some use cases, definitely, that is a problem. Definitely, yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, everyone, for coming this afternoon. It was a great conversation. Thank you very much. And yeah, look forward to further discussions at the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.